Excellent. Hi, Suzanne. This is Colette Bartow from the Office of Public Instruction, and I am so excited today to have you join me to visit about the LibGuides that you've created for educators at the University of Montana Mansfield Library. So, Suzanne, what would you like to tell us about yourself
Oh, gee.
and your role at the University of Montana?
Well, I'm the government document librarian for the university and also the coordinator for the Federal Depository Program in Montana. And our whole purpose is to help to provide our citizenry with the information about government that they need. So all of those reports and other documents, and in this case, specifically materials that are useful for educators.
That is awesome. And yesterday, as Suzanne and I were talking and getting ready for today, I shared with her that I have a deep appreciation and a long family history with government documents. That was my first cataloging experience. So at any rate, that's a sidelight. So let's get ready to go here. And just to remind everyone that this digital blast is just a short session to share ideas and best practices. You can ask questions and get answers, whether it's during this live session or recording afterward. You always have that option to get in touch with us. And the partners that we have today are the University of Montana, Mansfield Library, and Susanne, the Office of Public Instruction, our Teacher Learning Hub, and of course you who watch and help get great ideas stimulated and put these resources to good use. So that being said, if you want to look for links, we've shared the links to the website resources that Susanne is going to share. If you hover over the left side of your screen and click on the little yellow tabs, you'll see links. And also, whether you're watching the recording or with us live right now, you can click on this little kind of blue thought bubble and ask a question. And again, that's whether you're watching the recording or listening to us live. So that being said, let's dive right in. So I was really interested when Suzanne, you sent me a message and asked about sharing this. I was really excited because I think government documents are kind of an untapped resources in schools, in K-12 schools in particular. And so at this point, I was just going to ask you a little bit about LibGuides in particular and why you use this tool and what you think of it.
Well, library guides are something that the library here has been using, and all of my colleagues also have their own library guide pages. They're pretty simple to set up, and you can link to databases and all sorts of other resources through these. So you can have a combination of information and then take people directly to the resources. This is just one of mine. I have several others, yay. And it's just a simple way for people to locate some of these really great resources.
That's awesome. And then as we take a look at the website, and I'll have Suzanne guide us through the different parts of this page on the live web page, but why in particular did you choose these resources to share with the teachers and other librarians?
I chose these because they have just such a wonderful, rich collection of material. And I think these are also a few of the agencies that are doing the best job when it comes to putting together materials for students or for teachers.
That's great. And so everyone sees on the screen a link. You also have that link in the links button on the left-hand side if you hover over the little yellow tags. But we're going to go now to the live website and look at these resources. So this is the U of M Mansfield Library webpage, the LibGuides, and these are the new government documents research guides for education. So Suzanne, you just tell me where to click.
Okay, so first you want to go to the left side of the screen where it says kids.gov.
Okay.
And this is a really good starting point for just about anybody. And this is a page that has compiled a whole lot of different resources into one place. And they've divided it up for students, and I think it's specifically K through, and if you click on that little blue kids.gov, it should take you there.
Okay.
I try to make all of the links blue, so it's really visually obvious. So
Mm-hmm.
here we have kids grades K through 5, we have teens 6 through 8, and then we have a section for teachers and parents. So each one of these pages is going to be a little bit different and a little more focused. But say if you go scroll down a little bit and click on history. So this is just really basic, but you're going to find things like the Santa tracker, you're going to find videos, you're going to find games. So we have here like the branches of government, the Bill of Rights, and as you can see, these are going to link you to different locations. So if you click on American history, learn history, it's going to take you to more options. It'll give you a little bit of a description of what these places are like. And say you go to America's Story. This is going to take you to the Library of Congress. And this is an older page. I believe they are going to be updating some of this material. But here we have, Meet Amazing Americans, Jump Back in Time. They're going to have some music here. And that's just one way to quickly locate the different types of resources from different agencies. It's not limited just to government. There are some organizations and a few .coms included in here, but it's a great place to start.
Well, and I love the graphical interface and really the thoughtful way that they've constructed these sites to be really kid-friendly from the beginning, and then those extra resources for teachers and parents. Okay, where should we go next?
Okay, well, let's go back to the guide. I'll try not to make you click the back button too many times. So the first one under Sites You Need to Know, we have Ben's Guide. This is a resource created by the Government Printing Office, and they're the ones who send us all of our documents. So we're kind of very fond of them.
Oh, yes, and look at that cute Ben Franklin.
They just updated this as well. So they have a library, they have a glossary, they have games, they have the learning adventures, and they've divided this up according to ages. So all of these sites that I'm going to show you, with one exception, doesn't break things down according to either ages or grades. Mm-hmm. So say if we go to ages 9 through 13, we can take a look, say, at the branches of government. And this is going to have some information specifically on the different branches of government. This is really focused on how our government works, the different branches, how they interact, who's responsible for what. It's really good basic civics or social studies information.
It's really nice. The interface is just beautiful.
They worked really hard on this one. You can even see the Smithsonian there. If you go back to the guide, this is sort of a very basic, fun, really easy resource. If we go into the National Archives, this is where things get a little more detailed. Mm-hmm. This is the one exception where they don't really talk a lot about your different grade levels, but what they want is to provide primary sources to individuals and to teachers to incorporate into your lesson plans. So if you go and click on Docs Teach, that's one of their main products. And again, these are public domain. You can do whatever you want with a lot of these materials. Now, if you scroll down just a teeny bit, it talks about their plans, their program, their education updates. Sometimes they'll have webinars for educators. And now if you click on ready-to-use tools for teaching with documents in the classroom, it's that sort of greenish box.
There we go.
Yep. So this is a breakdown according to subject. So you have Civil War Reconstruction, Revolution, and the New Nation. Go ahead and click on Revolution. And what this is it's going to start to give you actual primary source materials, and it'll give you some information about how they can be used and what they represent. So if you click on Finding American Symbols, it's the one with the eagle. So here we have a synopsis of students will identify symbols used in the original design of the Great Seal. It has objectives. So it's a combination of digital versions of these documents, information about them, and then how you can incorporate that into your own lessons. National Archives also does a lot of work with National History Day. So if your students are working at all with National History Day, or you would like your students to work with National History Day, this site is absolutely a fabulous, fabulous source of material. And again, free. I love that.
Right. Oh, it absolutely. I'm not as familiar with this site, so this is really interesting to me. I like and just really immediately keyed into some of the overview information, who it came from, what tools you can use, and that's zooming in and cropping and looking at very distinct parts of these primary sources, and then also looking at Bloom's taxonomy, so where in higher order thinking and kind of level of demand on students they need to analyze. So this is really neat, and you can print the activity too, which is cool.
These are really nice and really well put together.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back to the guide, the next one is Library of Congress.
I love the Library of Congress.
Oh my gosh, they have been doing such a great job. They actually have an educator. No. That's not right. Okay.
We'll try that again.
Okay. Because it's just www.loc.gov. And if you just go there, we can get to where we're going.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
Okay, so on the blue bar under Library of Congress, there's education. Right. So they actually have someone on staff who goes and does these lesson plans that they put together. Now, if you click on teacher resources instead of lesson plans, you have amazing search options. Lesson plans will just give you a list. Here, you can search by standards, you can search by state content, you can do organizations. If you go to state content and just click that radio button, you can go ahead and select Montana, and you can put in any grade or subject that you would like, tell it to search, and it'll bring up some materials. And again, these aren't things that you have to use in their entirety, but connected with these, and you can see that to the right, it says 7 classroom materials, 2 primary source sets, 1 presentation, and 4 collection connections. So what that means is those collection connections will take you back to something at Library of Congress. Now, this is just one tiny, tiny piece of what they provide. So we also have in here, we have full books, we have classics, we have writing prompts, we have all sorts of material. And this is just a tiny tip of the iceberg of the joy that you can get from the Library of Congress.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the resource that I'm more familiar with. And just as you said, the way that you're able to search by standard in particular and grade level really cuts the time out of a teacher's day when they're looking for materials. They know they need to use primary sources, and the level of quality, both with the National Archives and the Library of Congress, in the primary source sets that you can print and use, it's just astounding. You really feel like if you're working with the Declaration of Independence, which I think is from the National Archives, right, or other documents from the Library of Congress, you really feel like you're touching that document.
Right. You can really take a look at the actual handwriting. They have some amazing collections as well. So they have the papers of Frederick Douglass, like the original handwritten papers that they've digitized. They have Chronicling America, which if you have not used, please do. It is a database of American newspapers between 1823 and 1923. So 100 years of US newspapers, searchable and completely free. And, my grandmother was a teacher, my mom was a teacher, my brother's a teacher. I know what the budgets end up looking like, which is constantly shrinking. And
Mhm.
this is an amazing free resource.
And I love newspapers in particular. Even if you're looking at ads from different
Mhm.
time periods, that's just like an
Definitely.
amazing way to get students to talk about, life around them and how things have changed and the value of money, whatever it is. So we could talk about these things forever because you know that you and I are excited about it. So
Great.
let's go on and shall we look at the Smithsonian?
Yeah. So the Smithsonian is another really great source. They're a little more complicated. Some of their material is not in the public domain, so you want to watch out. Where it says Smithsonian Science Education Center, that's where you can actually purchase some of their materials. But the Smithsonian Center for Learning and Digital Access is one of the good places to go. Their education section in general is really great just for if you need an example of artwork, if you need some fossil examples, anything like that. They're absolutely wonderful. And they do have lesson plans. And if you go up actually to the brown bar that says lesson plans, I think that sometimes works a little bit better. So again, you're going to have to the left side where you can search by subject, you can search by grades, you can search by keywords, but this part gives you a little bit more. They have their top 10, they have a blog, and what's great about the Smithsonian and actually a lot of these agencies is that they're not just about one thing, they're about a lot of different interdisciplinary areas. So Smithsonian has history, culture, art, science, a lot of natural science. They have material for very small children. They have material for college age. So the just breadth of material here is fabulous.
I think what you said about integration is really key in looking at a resource like this. When we know that, history is taught and learned through writing and experiencing the words and the images of the people who lived that history, a place like the Smithsonian as a museum, as the curators of our culture and history, it's just really exciting to think about being able to find just the right resource that comes at learning from that integrated approach.
Right.
Love it. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and looks like it can give your feedback when you want to as well. So,
Actually, they all do that pretty much.
oh, I'm sure
So,
for to just a little quick survey, usually to
mhm,
say how did you like our stuff, so that they can show the and prove their worth the to Congress.
and also make changes if needed.
Yeah. So let's look at the National Park Service.
So National Park Service is again going to have history and they're going to have sciences. And if you start here, you'll be able to search by terms, by subjects, by grade level, or by Common Core. A lot of these agencies have noticed that these are areas that educators really like to have in order to search. So we can just put in for a search term Montana. And click on the little green, yeah, there we go. So in this case, it only gives us 4 items, but that's okay. Another thing I've noticed is they're trying to really keep their databases fairly consistent with a lot of paid databases. So frequently on the left side, you're going to find your limiters. So we've got our location, we've got subjects, we've got the different Common Core standards that these will work with. We have science, and then we have social studies as subjects. So these can be really nice. And you'll notice on the right, we also have some explanation. So for the Fort Union Fur Trade Overview is a lesson plan. It's for elementary and third grade through fifth grade, and the subject is social studies. So they've really tried to make the way this presents as informative as possible. Now, because we put in Montana, we didn't get a whole heck of a lot, but you could put in something like grizzly bears, you could put in wolves, you could look for information on a specific park. And here we have, making tracks, Glacier National Park, grass, the essence of cow pens. So we've got a lot of different materials in here as well, depending on what search terms you're going to use. National Park Service also has crates of materials that you can borrow. They have virtual park tours. They have all sorts of other great things that you can use.
I wonder if they got the idea for traveling trunks from us here in Montana, in our in our Fish, Wildlife, and Park State Library trunks too. We'll ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here, and then let's go ahead and we are getting close to the end of our time. So let's go ahead and look at
NASA.
NASA. Yay! I love NASA.
Everyone loves NASA. NASA has a very, very good track record of providing educational materials. And right now we're on the educators page, and we can be on for educators. They also have for students and NASA Kids Club, which is for younger students. They have, again, materials that you can borrow. You can borrow a PC station, that sort of thing. They will have webinars that your students can participate in, that you can arrange so that you can actually have your students talking to an astronaut on the space station or a specialist in a particular field. And they have all sorts of publications, posters, and other documents that you can use, as well as lesson plans.
That's amazing. I know a few teachers who have had the chance to either interact with astronauts on an existing mission or contribute something in the way of an experiment that has gone on into space. So really highly engaging, very STEM focused, and I can't think of a better way to get kids involved in thinking about math and science and engineering and technology.
Right. And if you scroll down a little bit, you see that they also are breaking this material up by grade level as well.
I like
so we got K through 8.
And I like the connection to informal education. So we have all kinds of organizations. NASA, in my mind, is one of the best of those informal education institutions. It's not their first mission, but they're doing a lot of outreach and education, and the wealth of the resources is just amazing.
Yeah, and again, this is just a little tiny bit. And the very last piece on that guide, right underneath this list, if you need to find some information, if you're not sure where to look, we have a number of depositories throughout Montana. If you don't have one that's very close to you, you can always contact me and I can help you find items. We have a lot of material that's also in print that you can borrow.
And that's a really good, I think, so back to like my beginnings with government documents and that, but I was always struck as a very young person in upper elementary when I would go to with my mom to the library and work in the government document section at Mansfield Library about just the really cool things that you could learn. And it's part of that connection of our government to providing information to the public. So you will be amazed at the wealth of information that you find through the government documents section. So at this point, I really want to thank Susanne for sharing this information with us. You have links in this presentation to this LibGuide, and I'm going to go back to our slides really quickly and just let you know that the recording for this session will be available on my Google site. You can also earn renewal units by watching this series of digital blasts, and you can sign up for a course from last year's series at the OPI Learning Hub. There's a link there, you can explore that. And also I wanted to ask you, Susanne has stepped up to the plate, taken the challenge on admirably, and presented this topic with me. It's really fun to do it as a conversation and a way to share with each other the great things that we have as part of our daily work. So you can sign up. There's a link to sign up on the TL Digital Blast page on my Google site to propose a topic or to raise your hand to present. Also, I always like to remind folks to think about, if you're not already a member of the Montana Library Association or connected through the Library Association's various listservs, subscribe to newsletters, stay in touch. It's by being in touch with each other that we learn about these great resources and how we can use them in our own situations. So with that, I want to sincerely thank Susanne for the time that she took to prepare for this today and to share this half hour or so of time to talk about these fantastic resources. So thank you so much, Susanne. And until next time, I am looking forward to hearing from you, and have great and happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon.